Great. So when we speak about the programs, I do believe that everything connects, and also Erasmus and Solidarity, even if for the Solidarity Core we have, as I said, Solidarity in the middle of it, I do believe that also Erasmus Plus has a connection with Solidarity, because as I said, if we think of Solidarity as a value, which on which we build our youth program or youth projects, you can also connect it with what happens in Erasmus Plus, because also the Erasmus Plus respond to the policy documents from the Commission, like the European Youth Strategy and the youth goals. And if you look in the documents, you could find elements of solidarity like empower, engage, connect, right? These are the three main things which also reflects in Erasmus and Solidarity Core. So there are so many connections. So even if you don't do a project on Solidarity Core, you are still contribute to the understanding of solidarity in the youth field by implementing Erasmus Plus projects. And I think which is, and I really believe that this program kind of support each other, because, for example, you can use Erasmus Plus to train to train your mentors or your youth workers to work with volunteers. For example, you can have a Key Action 1 mobility, and you can also approach the understanding of solidarity with the youth workers, and then you could involve, when they are back home in your country, you can involve them in the work with volunteers. So I do believe that having a separate program on solidarity is an added value, because it emphasizes the importance of volunteering, and in the same time creates a connection with Erasmus Plus, because these two programs can help each other. Regarding the Solidarity Core program and where is solidarity in the program, besides its name, of course, solidarity happens when your project is making a difference, when you create and you implement projects that want to improve the life of the community where the volunteers come, and in order to increase the quality of life, to as it was said also before, to help, to use your privilege in order to help the ones that don't have the privilege in the community, in a word, to make a difference. Another point where you can see solidarity in the core is when you transform the journey into a learning journey. I said it in my first presentation that a big challenge compared now with Solidarity Core is that the learning dimension is not as important as in EVS. Nevertheless, it's still present there. And I think now, because EVS was very much focused on competence development, right, of the volunteers, everything happened around the volunteer. And now, next to the volunteer, you have the community. But still, the learning is present there. So you don't do just a voluntary stage just to have the community, but also to improve your learning. So when learning meets the community, this is also a place where solidarity is in the Solidarity Core program. Engagement, as I said, engagement of the local communities is also an important part where you can see solidarity. And it's not only about involving them as receivers for the local community. So you don't have necessarily a volunteer that come in the community and do services for the members in the community, but you create together with the members of the community. You are doing things together. And I think this is also an important element where, for example, you can involve local volunteers. And it's also an element that can support the sustainability of the project, because if you are doing things with the members of the community, when the volunteers go from that community, the impact is still carrying on by the members. So involving local communities is also a way to show that solidarity is present in your activity. Of course, another element is supporting the young persons as being their own, their own master of their destiny. Through solidarity has this dimension of empowering. So the young persons are, they have everything that they need to reach their maximum potential. And when you as a project manager, you create the space for them to act at their maximum potential, it's a way of showing solidarity. Where another element where you can see solidarity is when the sending and the hosting communities are connected, and they are also maintain the connection during the program. And why? Because in solidarity, or how we want to understand solidarity, it's also about giving back. When the volunteer finish the stage, and I think it was also mentioned in the last presentation, that people are, after a volunteer stage, they return to the community and become even more active in their at home. And I think this is also an important element to emphasize, that we need to do that. We need to make sure that also the sending community benefits from the volunteer that make the stage in another country. It's also connected with the next stage, where solidarity is also about bringing skills and knowledge back home. It's exactly how I mentioned before. It's not only about the hosting community that benefits from the volunteer, but it's also the sending one, because you return back home and you become even more active in the community. And for here, and I know cases, many cases where volunteers return and they are becoming active actors in Erasmus+. They are, some of them also become project managers. Some of them become trainers. So I do think that it's a circle. And of course, solidarity is also when you make a difference, when you make a difference through your own self-reflection, because solidarity action changes you, improves you as a person also. So from our perspective, this is where solidarity happens in the Solidarity Core program. We also created, because as I said, our main aim is to allow or to work also with national agencies in order to work with them in understanding of what means solidarity in the project. And for that, we also created the kind of, we don't say the checklist, but the framework of what are the elements that needs to be present in a project in Solidarity Core that shows that solidarity is there in the project. And there are a few elements that I want also to share with you. So first one is, you can see that the project shows solidarity when that project empower young people to have a voice, to be the creators of their own activities, to have a space to become strong leaders, strong initiators. So that's one element. Another element when a project shows solidarity is that when the project is created based on the need analysis in the community. Because you cannot, okay, of course, you can also have nice projects based on dreams and wishes. And in the same time, if these dreams and wishes are answering to a real need in the community, the project is stronger. So the need analysis should reflect the needs in the host community, but also in the sending community. And of course, correlated with the learning needs of the volunteers. So this should be, the need analysis, it's good to have it before, of course, before even thinking of the project. Another element of a good quality project in terms of solidarity dimension is the connection. So you also said it, the solidarity with the environment. You know the discussion, also the Green Deal. You know that environmental protection and sustainability is a priority nowadays. And this needs also to be reflected in the project that you are implementing, or the project that you are asking money for. Another element of a good quality projects for solidarity is that is when through the actions in the project, and this is what it was also mentioned before, you show that the young people with privilege uses their privilege in order to tackle inequalities and injustice. Because solidarity is very much connected with human rights. So if your project tackles discrimination, tackles injustice, then it shows that through your project, you are increasing solidarity in Europe and in your community. Another element is empowering. If your project allows the community to take action. And as I said before, it's not only the young person that should, the volunteer that should be an actor, that should have a space, but it's also the local community and involving of everyone who kind of needs to have a voice in order to answer to the needs that you identify in the need analysis. Another element that shows that the project has quality in terms of solidarity is the courage. If it gives the space for young people to have the courage or to increase their courage in taking initiatives, because as we said also, I said also in the beginning, solidarity needs to be connected with action, and actions sometimes requires courage. So if your project also tackles that, that means that your project is connected very strongly with solidarity. Another element is inclusion of everyone, with everyone meaning people that have less opportunities, people that are out of your initial bubble. When I'm saying your bubble, meaning the bubble of your organization. Project that shows that you want to reach and to create bridges between groups that are not necessarily in connection, or they don't necessarily have dialogue. This is also how you can show that your project contributes to solidarity. Another element of solidarity is togetherness. So showing that through your project, you are creating communities, you are engaging communities. So it's not you are not just doing a project in a very limited environment, quite opposite. You are using Solidarity Core program in order to enlarge the communities and in order to create openness in the communities. And now speaking, because now we are also in a very specific situation where the digital environment is very present, and a lot of project also, because it's one of the priority, right? Digitalization will also include the digital dimension in the project. And for us, in order to show solidarity also using the digital environment, it needs to have the dimension of critical thinking, of media literacy, because it needs to have this component of together with young people, make them process the information through a critical thinking level, the information that is on the social media. And the project should also move from how we call it click activism, like because for solidarity is not just, okay, it helps to give a click and a like in social media, but your project should encourage young people to take another step, a step forward also in digital environment. So these are few elements that we consider important to have in a project where we speak about quality and solidarity. And regarding the two programs where solidarity can happen, it can happen when there are element of injustice, where the human rights are not respected. It can happen when you need to build something, you need the construction. And it's also what is important in solidarity is that everyone can be a receiver and a giver. it's not in solidarity. It's not about people with privilege and non-privilege. It's also because what I experienced, also people that apparently have less privilege, they can be generators of solidarity acts with others. So the construction, the solidarity, it's not hierarchical. It's not from us to them, but it's all together. Another thing where solidarity can happen in both programs, also in Erasmus and in Solidarity, is where you wanted to put the balance back in balance. Let's say when there is an imbalance, when we show that solidarity and solidarity core can happen also when there is a crisis situation. And another more very important element, solidarity happens also in connection with the environment. And this is something that we promote a lot, also with the NAs when we're working with national agencies, in order to change the paradigm that solidarity is not only between humans. Solidarity can happen with the environment, can happen with the in relation with the animal rights. Solidarity is a transversal value. And this also can, of course, these elements can be reflected through volunteering, but also through Erasmus Plus learning mobilities, even further on strategic partnership. So I think these are transversal elements in the two programs. So I think that was it from my side. I truly wish to keep the discussion alive and this to be just some food for thoughts.